Did you start podcasting first, or did you start your collective first? What order did you put those in?
Oh, the podcast came way before.
Okay.
And thank you for having me on, by the way, too, Adam. Really appreciate it. I started it. This is my 8th year now of recording. So I started it a couple months after I sold my gyms back in 17. Because I didn't really know what I wanted to do next. So I'm like, well, I'll just start to interview some people. And I had worked at radio stations back in the day, so I was always mesmerized by the medium. I just started interviewing some friends, then started interviewing some mentors, and started interviewing other people, and then I just never stopped. So that's about.
Well, when you started with your podcast, was it always the same podcast, same name? You never rebranded it?
No, it was the future of fitness the whole time. And the goal was always, for the Gretzky quote, to help the industry skate to where the puck was going when it comes to health sciences, technologies, things like that. And it was really just selfishly, I curiously wanted to know, because I didn't know what I was going to do within the industry next. So thought I'd ask a bunch of people smarter than me and see what they said.
So are you a fitness coach then as well?
I haven't done fitness coaching in quite some time, but I've coached thousands of people. I kind of hung that up a couple of years after I sold my gyms. I maintained some clients remotely. But I owned a CrossFit gym in Santa Barbara, California. And I also owned kind of a hybrid style personal training CrossFit gym in Ventura. So throughout that time, I've had the opportunity to coach thousands of people that came through those doors over the 8 years.
Yeah. And your collective, would you talk a little bit about where that idea came from? You already had your podcast. You've had your podcast now for about 8-ish years as we record.
Yep.
When did you decide, hey, I'm going to start a whole group of people in my same field?
Yeah. So you've probably experienced this too, Adam, but I also had another podcast. I had the Fitness Blitz Radio, which was a daily podcast, which I did for about 2.5 years. So, and then I also co-host Athletech Unscripted, and then, which is Athletech's kind of like the Bloomberg of fitness and wellness. And then I'm also this quarter launching a series, a special short series on that one. So I've done a lot. The Future of Fitness is definitely kind of my baby, my flagship podcast, but I've been ventured out in a lot of different things. I also had the Black Diamond podcast. Forgot about that. The collective started because of a couple things. Like I've built this massive network. I've interviewed over 800 people within the fitness and wellness industry, and got to know a lot of people and made a lot of friends through that journey. As a lot of podcasters know, it's a great way to build relationships and meet people and firm up relationships too. So, I was looking for a way that I could start to leverage that network and monetize it. And really had a business coach, Pat Rigsby, who just told me, he's like, Eric, it's quite obvious, isn't it? I'm like, not to me, dude. Like, you don't tell me what is so obvious. He's like, well, you can have a placement agency. I'm like, well, yeah, I can. And then I started thinking about it. I'm like, man, I've been pitched. I don't know about you, Adam, but I get pitched probably 3 to 10 times a week, right, for guests to be on the show. And most of it is shit. Like, I'll just say it. It's just bad. It makes it's annoying to the podcaster. You can tell they haven't done any research. It looks bad for their client. There's a couple times I go through like stories that blew my mind of what some of these people will do. So to me, I was like, you know what? Yeah, I can do that. And I know it's not that much harder to do it better. And then I can do it specific to my industry, because one of the things that we look at is like, I understand for most of the podcasters that we work with, I know why they do a podcast, right? If it's just someone who just listens and consumes may not understand like what's the motivation of the podcaster. Are they, looking to just build audience? Are they trying to generate leads for their business? Is it for business development? What are they looking to do? What is the business that they have that funds the podcast, right? So I was able to get really good insights. So we become essentially the industry's go-to placement agency for business development when it comes to media placement, so earned media. So that's kind of the main driver of the collective. And then the other side, I have this kind of, I guess, dream vision of how I believe fitness, health, and wellness podcasts, independent people like myself, who just do it because they like it or have a small business that drives the podcast, we can do, if we get together, we can leverage a lot of things, right? As an independent network. I don't know if you ski or not. I know you live in Denver, Colorado, but they have the Indy Pass, right? For skiing, which is like all these little independent resorts. You can get a pass that's either a discount or access to these passes. I'm like, that's a really cool idea. Like they maintain the culture and the independence and vibe of an independent ski resort, but maybe they can also collaborate and do bigger things if they just leverage that community for like discounts on specific things or marketing budgets or sponsorships, things like that. So that's what we're trying to build on that side of it. But we're really just building value for them first through education. I do get a lot of sponsorship opportunities that cross my desk, so I pass that on to the community without a fee. So that's kind of the grand goal. And then the other thing that we're doing now, which I know isn't new to anybody, but I just get asked to do it all the time, is help launch a podcast. So we're doing that as well.